Toldot. Generations. Sixth reading from the book of Genesis. Outline of Torah portion. Is the history of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham fathered Isaac. Genesis 25:19. Torah says Isaac, Abraham's son, and repeats that Abraham fathered Isaac. That Abraham begat, fathered Isaac. Isaac is like a second Abraham. Many things Abraham endured in his life were also repeated in Isaac's life. He endured them because he was the heir to the inheritance of Abraham's promise, both spiritual and physical. Similarities in Abraham's and in Isaac's lives. Sarah, Abraham's wife, was barren. Rebekah, Isaac's wife, was also barren. God's miraculous intervention to conceive Isaac. God's miraculous intervention to conceive Esau and Jacob. Out of Ishmael and Isaac, only Isaac chosen for the covenant inheritance. Out of Esau and Jacob, only Jacob chose for the covenant inheritance. Abraham told Abimelech that Sarah is his sister. Isaac too told Abimelech that Rebekah is his sister. Abraham faced a famine in the land. Isaac too faced a famine in the land. Abraham made a treaty with Abimelech and Philcol at Beersheba. Isaac made a treaty with Abimelech and Philcol at Beersheba. Abraham dug wells and named them. Isaac had to dig same wells that Abraham dug, and he gave them the names given by Abraham. God appeared to Abraham to give him the covenant promise. God appeared to Isaac also and gave him the same covenant promise. Birth of Esau and Jacob. Just as Sarah was barren for a long time, Rebekah too was barren for 20 years. Like Abraham interceded for Sarah for a child, Isaac interceded for Rebekah for a child. The couple must have been under great stress, for Isaac was the promised son, the inheritor of the great promise given to Abraham. Isaac must have an heir to pass on the promise to the next generation. Why were both Sarah and Rebekah barren? God gave a specific and a great promise to Abraham. On both occasions, God made the parents engage in dialogue or prayer so that birth of Isaac and the births of Isaac's children, Esau and Jacob, were possible only by faith and through intercessory prayer. God made the provision for the promise, and no one else was able to take credit for it. Torah says that Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was barren. And the Lord answered him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. Genesis chapter 25, verse 21. In Hebrew, the words Isaac prayed imply the meaning entreaty. Yeshua HaMashiach said how important the persistent prayer is in the parable of unjust judge who continued to refuse to give justice to an old widow who kept pestering him to receive justice against her adversary. According to the parable, the judge finally agrees to give justice to the widow to stop her wearing him out with her perpetual requests. And Yeshua HaMashiach said, listen to the words of the unjust judge. Will not God bring about justice for his elect who cry out to him day and night? Luke chapter 18, verse 6 and 7. In the parable of the bothersome neighbor, we are told of a man who goes into his friend's house at midnight requesting food for a friend who has come to him on a journey. The friend denies him at first. Yeshua HaMashiach said, even though he will not get up to provide for him because of his friendship, yet because of the man's persistence, he will get up and give him as much as he needs. And he also said, Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks the door will be opened. Esau sells his birthright. The boys grew, and Esau became a skillful hunter, an outdoors man, while Jacob was a quiet man who stayed in the tents. Firstborn son of a family is the holder of the birthright. Special privileges and advantages belong to the firstborn son in the biblical culture. Firstborn also becomes the priest of the family. To the firstborn son is also allotted a double portion of the paternal inheritance. He also becomes the head of the family. Patriarchal possession, authority, and title of his father, he bears the family name. Torah says he must acknowledge the firstborn by giving him a double share of all he has. That son is the first sign of his father's strength. The right of the firstborn belongs to him. Deuteronomy chapter 21 verse 17. Torah says that one day when Jacob had cooked some stew, Esau came in from the open country. He was exhausted. Esau asked Jacob to give him some stew. Jacob said, First sell me your rights as the firstborn. He said, Look, I am about to die. What use to me are my rights as the firstborn? Jacob said, First swear to me. So Esau swore to him, thus selling his birthright to Jacob. Jacob gave him bread and lentil stew. He ate and drank, got up and went his way. Thus Esau showed how little he valued his birthright. Genesis chapter 25 verse 34. We are told that Jacob was a peaceful man who stayed in the tents, while Esau was a skillful hunter. Two contrasting characters. Even before birth, they were destined to go on opposite directions. And in the book of Romans, we read, before they were born, before they had done anything at all, either good or bad, so that God's plan might remain a matter of his sovereign choice, not dependent on what they did, but on God, who does the calling. It was said to her, the older will serve the younger. Romans chapter 9 verse 11 to 12. Isaac and Abimelech. A famine came over the land, and Isaac went to Gerar, to Abimelech king of Philistine. God instructed him not to go down into Egypt, but to live where he will tell. God told Isaac to stay in the land and that he will be with him and bless him. So Isaac relocated him and his family in the Philistine territory of Abimelech. God said, I will fulfill the oath which I swore to Abraham your father. God promised to multiply his descendants, give them the land, and to bless nations through them. All this because Abraham heeded what I said and did what I told him to do. He followed my mitzvah and regulations and my teachings. Genesis chapter 26 verse 5. It's important to note that God passed the promises and blessings to Isaac because Abraham not only walked by faith but was also obedient to God's mitzvahs, regulations, and teachings. Just as Abraham, Isaac too feared for his life and told the people of the land that Rebekah is his sister. One day Abimelech found out that Rebekah is indeed Isaac's wife and warned the people of the land not to touch them. Isaac displayed the same weakness Abraham had. His lie about Rebekah put her in danger. He would have brought guilt on the Philistines too. Torah says that Isaac planted crops in that land and reaped that year 100 times as much as he had sowed. Adonai had blessed him. The man became rich and prospered more and more until he had become very wealthy indeed. He had flocks, cattle, and a large household, and the Philistine envied him. Genesis chapter 26, verses 12 to 14. Abimelech said to Isaac, "Go away from us, because you have become more powerful than us." So Isaac left and settled in Wadi Gerar and lived there. Isaac reopened the wells which had been dug during the lifetime of Abraham his father, the ones the Philistine had stopped up after Abraham died, and called them by the names his father had used for them. Genesis chapter 26, verse 18. Isaac reopened wells, renamed them, but Philistines came and reclaimed them. Isaac went up to Beersheba. There God appeared to Isaac and said, "Don't be afraid, because I am with you. I will bless you and increase your descendants for the sake of my servant Abraham." Genesis chapter 26, verse 24. Later, Abimelech came to Isaac. "We saw very clearly that Adonai has been with you, so let there be an oath between us. Let's make a pact between ourselves and you." Genesis chapter 26, verse 28. This is how Abimelech apologized to Isaac for each time his people quarreled for the wells that Isaac reopened. Isaac did not retaliate. He remained humble. He did not compromise peace between them. The way Isaac handled the matter impressed and set an example for Abimelech and his people. Esau's Hittite wives. When Esau was 40 years old, he took as wives Judith, the daughter of Beri the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. But they became a cause for embitterment of spirit to Jacob and Rebekah. Genesis chapter 26, verses 34 and 35. It was not a secret from Esau that his grandfather, Abraham, sent his servant all the way to his hometown to find a bride for his father Isaac. There may have been some advice coming from Isaac and Rebekah on choosing a bride for him. Him marrying two Canaanite women showed that he had no respect to his parents' concerns for his marriage. Getting married to two pagan wives who had no idea of God of Abraham and Isaac and the covenant promise given to them further pushed Esau from his blessing. The Torah also says that Esau's wives became a cause for embitterment of spirit to Jacob and Rebekah. Also in Genesis chapter 27, verse 46, Torah says, Rebekah said to Isaac, "I am sick to death of Hittite women. If Jacob marries one of the Hittite women like those who live here, my life won't be worth living." Isaac blesses Jacob. When Isaac was old and his eyes dim, he called his older son Esau and told him to take his hunting gear and get him some game. Prepare it the way he likes it and bring it to him. Isaac wanted to bless Esau as his firstborn and transfer the covenantal blessing to Esau before he dies. Rebekah heard the conversation and convinced and prepared Jacob to deceive Isaac. Jacob was reluctant. He said, "If he finds out, I will bring a curse on myself." But Rebekah insisted, "Let your curse be on me." Genesis chapter 27, verse 13. Getting the covenantal blessing on the right person is that serious. Some even say that Abraham may have directed Rebekah in this direction. At this point of time, both Esau and Jacob were deceiving their father. Esau was not honest. He did not say that he has already sold his birthright to Jacob for a bowl of soup. Jacob disguised himself as Esau. Esau's conduct made him unworthy of the covenantal blessing. Jacob had the right motivation and he intended to protect the Abraham's legacy. He was also reluctant to deceive Isaac. Jacob, being a peaceful man with the right intentions, God honored Isaac's blessing and passed on the covenantal blessing on to Jacob. Esau's lost blessing. But as soon as Isaac had finished giving his blessing to Jacob, when Jacob had barely left his father's presence, Esau, his brother, came in from his hunting. Genesis chapter 27, verse 30. At that moment, Esau realized that he has lost both his birthright and his inheritance. At first, he was not concerned about his responsibilities as the firstborn son. He was not interested in the blessing of Abraham. He was focused only on the material benefits and things of this world. The moment his entitlement was taken away, it made him sad and regretted it. Esau said to his father, "Have you only one blessing, my father?" "Father, bless me too." Esau wept loud. And Isaac, his father, answered him, "Here, your home will be of the richness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above." Genesis chapter 27, verses 38 and 39. It is important that our priority should not be for the material things of this world and should not get carried away by its deceit. Our priority should be for the eternal things and for the things of God. For you know that afterwards, when he wanted to obtain his father's blessing, he was rejected. Indeed, even though he sought it with tears, his change of heart was to no avail. Hebrew chapter 12, verse 17. Jacob sent away. Esau hated his brother because of the blessing his father had given him, and he decided to kill his brother Jacob. Torah says, "Words of Esau was told to Rebekah, and she instructed Jacob to go to her brother Laban in Haran and to come back when Esau's anger subsides." So Isaac called Jacob, blessed him, and instructed him not to take a wife from the Hittite women. "May El Shaddai bless you, make you fruitful, and increase your descendants until they become a whole assembly of peoples. And may he give you the blessing which he gave to Abraham, you and your descendants with you, so that you will possess the land. You will travel through the land God gave to Abraham." Genesis chapter 28, verse 3 and 4. God honored the blessing Isaac gave to Jacob, but Jacob's actions took him away from his family and from the land of Abraham for some time. He had to work for his uncle Laban and face deception through him. Jacob may have had the right motivation to get the inheritance and the blessing. If he remained patient, will things turn out different? Because God is faithful, he worked things out eventually, and covenant promise was passed on to Jacob. Esau marries Ishmael's daughter. Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to choose a wife from Padan Aram. Esau also saw that the Canaanite women did not please Isaac his father. So Esau went to Ishmael and took, in addition to the wives he already had, Mahalat, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Navoyot, to be his wife. Genesis chapter 28, verse 9. Because of his wrong choice of getting married to Hittite women and then an Ishmaelite, Ishmael got married to an Egyptian girl. His lineage got distant even further from the covenantal blessing. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not. Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 10.